start. Here's to a first start, man. Let's do it. Come on, baby. Come on. If anything starts on fire, yell. Boys, today is a special occasion, so we're going to use a glass. In today's video, you're going to see the full Send Turbo Civic get its first start on its third motor. Now, this motor isn't going to be like any of the other motors I've had on the channel so far. This motor is going to be a full send motor. That doesn't mean I'm building it to make a ton of power. That means that I'm going to be filming some pretty full send type of videos with this motor. Things that I would normally be discouraged from doing with a fully built motor, I'm going to use this opportunity to do those things to this $500 motor. So I get home from work and I tell myself I'm just going to work for about an hour, and whatever I can get done, I'm going to be happy with. If I only get the clutch on, I'm going to be happy with that. I'm just going to stop after 1 hour. Alright boys, I gotta get hyped up for this next part because this is gonna suck. Here we go. Perfect. That's looking beautiful on the trans side. You guys can't see it, but that's right where I want it to be. That is perfect. Oh, there we go. That's pretty close, boys. I got it. I got crazy EDM playing, my mind's going a million miles an hour, and I'm just absolutely grinding. Boys, I was feeling so hyped up. I just threw that motor in, and I had the entire thing done in like an hour and a half, with trans and everything. Ah, it's rusty. Now that the motor's in, it's time to start doing the stuff that I'm really not looking forward to. Things like swapping over the intake manifold, putting on the turbo kit, that kind of stuff. That stuff is very tedious and time consuming. And then I get the intake manifold on the car, and then I'm realizing that the thermostat housing on this motor doesn't have a port for the idle air control valve's water line. This was a huge setback. I had to pull the thermostat housing off, and those O-rings are extremely expanded and very difficult to get to fit back into place. But with a little bit of elbow grease, I got it back in there, we're all set, and I hooked up the idle air control valve, no problem. Now I gotta put on the exhaust manifold gasket in order to put the turbo manifold on the car. Ouch is an understatement. That was honestly one of the most painful cuts I've ever had in my entire life. It was basically a paper cut, but with metal and a lot deeper, so kind of just like a cut. But I didn't quit. I stayed out there. I got the turbo manifold on. Unfortunately, I was in a lot of pain and kind of panicking, and I forgot to turn the camera back on. But Turbo manifold's on, no problem. We're all good to go. Now, installing the exhaust pipe is honestly like one of the most exciting parts of this process, because this is where I can kind of see exactly what the engine bay is going to look like with this motor in there. And it's a huge morale boost, and I'm cranking, I'm going hard, I'm trying to get this motor ready so I can get it started. And then we hit a big issue. I was trying to install the distributor, and it bolted up to the motor just fine. It came with the motor. It's the right distributor for the motor, but it's an OBD2 distributor, and my engine harness is an OBD1 engine harness. The problem here is that they have different harness connectors. Fuck. Now what? I'm panicking. I have no idea what to do to get this to work. I know distributors are extremely expensive, and I'm just trying to pull something out of my ass. Like, I'm really trying to find a solution. After a quick Google search, I found on Amazon that they make an adapter harness. Got it ordered. Thank you, Kearney, for placing the order for me. And it showed up the next day, installed it, and it worked perfectly. That works. I'm gonna see if the battery has any juice. I just hooked that thing up. It's time to prime the fuel system, prime the oil system, make sure the battery's good, and go for the first crank. Oh.
You got the juice?
Hey, is there any fuel leaking? I just primed the fuel pump. Oh, I smell something.
Oh yeah, hang on.
See a leak?
Just a tiny one. It's around the regulator here.
I really wasn't expecting that, and that was quite a bit of a setback because I was about ready to crank the engine. So now I need a new fuel pressure regulator. The Honda Performance shop near me is closed, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to get one. Now if I drop one of these screws, I'm gonna be in big trouble.
Oh, goodbye.
Was that a screw?
Yes, sir.
So in last ditch Hail Mary, I pulled off the fuel pressure regulator that I have. I scraped down the edge that was causing it to leak, and I put it back in, tightened it down, and voila. About to attempt cranking it. We're gonna see if it actually even cranks.
Yeah, I knew it.
All right, so I'm convinced that the battery was just too dead to activate the starter, and Rob thinks that the starter was bad. We had like 12.6 volts at the battery, and after hooking up through the jumper cables, the car might have cranked. So let me show you guys. But Rob was also tapping the starter, so he thinks that it's the starter. I think it was the battery. I think we're just gonna have to call it a tie, and let's do this thing crank, baby.
Dude, he's cranking strong.
Dude, it felt so good to hear this car crank again for the first time since March. Dude, it's been like 6 months. At least that's what it feels like. I guess it hasn't been 6 months, but dude, it feels like 6 months. So at this point, I just want to get it started. I want to get on the ground as fast as I possibly can, and I want to get driving, dude. I want to drive this car so bad at this point. So I plugged the main relay back in, threw the key back in the car, and I went for the first start. All right, ready?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
First start.
Here's to a first start, man. Let's do it.
Come on, baby. Come on. If anything starts on fire, yell.
All right, here we go.
Let's go!
Let's do it! Come on, man!
First freaking try. Motor idles completely on its own. I'm not helping it. I didn't even use the gas pedal to get it started. I just turned the key and it started and was idling just fine. I've never in my experience had a car start up and run that smoothly on the first turn of the key. That was insane. I'm mind blown. I'm so excited to drive it.
Woo! Let's go!
Sounds like it's either not running on all cylinders. Let's go! The only thing is, there's still quite a few issues. As you can hear, it's idling on its own, but it sounds pretty rough. And I can't quite figure out what's wrong with it. So it's getting pretty late, it's getting pretty dark. Rob and I have been fidgeting with it for a while. We can't get it just quite right yet, but we're working on it, and we're gonna get it soon, I promise.